Okay, and now for what most people find the most difficult of all these sorts of dimensional analysis problems, which is a real life physics problem. For example, suppose 8,000 joules of energy are used to lift a 3 kilogram mass against the force of Earth's gravity on the surface. How far will the object be lifted? Now, first of all, I'm being kind of unfair here because perhaps you don't know that 8,000 joules is really 8,000 kilograms times meters squared all over seconds squared. If you didn't know that, then you have no idea how to work with this. And so that's one of our pieces of information. And we also have 3 kilograms over 1. That's a piece of information. And the force of gravity is something that if you take physics, you'll see over and over and over again. It's 9.8 meters per second squared. So that's what we have. And the question is, how far will the objects be lifted? How far sounds like we want an answer in meters. Again, it kind of helps to look at the units you already have. We have kilograms, that's a measure of mass, meters, that's a measure of distance, and seconds, that's a measure of time. So if we're talking about how far something goes, although here in New England we'll often say, oh, it's 2 hours from here. We use time as a measure of distance because to get from one end of Boston to the other, it could only be 3 miles, but it might take you 45 minutes. Anyway, we want meters. Now this is tricky because we have meters here and we also have meters there. Does it matter which one we use? Yeah, it kind of matters. We can use this meter to cancel one of those meters out. So we start with the 8,000 kilogram meters squared per second squared. And by the way, I'm not going to have problems this hard on the homework. Now, we want to get rid of these kilograms, so we're going to have to flip this. So instead of multiplying by 3 kilograms over 1, we multiply by 1 over 3 kilograms. The kilograms will cancel with these kilograms. And we want the second squared to cancel with the second squared. We also have to flip this one. So second squared over 9.8 meters. And the second squared cancels with the second squared. And one of these meters, right, because this meter squared really means meters times meters. One of these meters cancels with the other one. All we're left with is 8,000 up top, 8,000 meters, and down below we have 3 times 9.8. And 3 times 9.8 is 29.4. So this is 8,000 over 29.4 meters. And if I take 8,000 and divide it by 29.4, I get about 272 meters. So I don't have a feel for what a joule is, but if you take 8,000 joules, that is enough energy to lift a 3 kilogram mass, that's a little bit heavy, up 272 meters. Now, this is not fair because you didn't necessarily know that joules were kilogram meters squared per second squared. You didn't necessarily know the 9.8 meters per second squared. In the homework, in the quizzes, I'm always going to make sure that I give you all the units. But it's just writing out what we have in terms of units, figuring out what we want, and getting it. It's a very powerful technique, and I really hope that you figure it out and you come to enjoy it because it's incredibly powerful and useful.